is going on, everyone? What is going on? Welcome to the Four Horsemen of Fantasy podcast. Alongside me, we got Carlos, Jack, and Gil. Guys, what's happening? How's your week going, guys?
Well, Nick's not screaming? Wow.
No, you gotta wait till we come back from break.
Just wait for the break. Wait for the break.
Yeah.
Just get ready.
All right, so somebody else bring us in after the break so he can just go crazy.
I already planned on that.
No, week's been good. I actually had a nice trip to Disneyland this past week. So that was great.
Very nice.
It was actually like perfect California weather where I wasn't burning my face off, so it was perfect. But that's been my week. Last couple of weeks, fantasy wise, I've been pretty healthy in terms of teams until maybe the last couple of days because I'm losing Anthony Edwards and Josh Giddey to injury, on top of Devin Booker being on health and safety protocol. But I digress.
It's better now than a couple of weeks from now in the playoffs. Yeah.
My position is kind of set, so I'm not concerned, but it's worrisome heading into the playoffs.
Yeah. But Jack, how you feeling, Jack? You feeling all right?
Yeah, I just like hearing Gil talking about going out west, going to Disney and everything, and then on Monday, I literally had surgery in my hip and can hardly move. So I would swear, but I don't want to do it for the person editing. So I'm just gonna say, yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm
doing just fine.
Yeah, I mean, I had the exact same surgery on the opposite hip back in April last year, so I kind of knew what to expect. But I think this healing process has gone a little bit better, I think, so far. So it's just a pain in the ass, really, having to I have to use 6 hours of machines per day, like ice machines and movement machines and stuff, just to get everything going in my hip. So, but no, apart from that, everything's good. I've kind of been a little bit switched off from fantasy recently, even though the fantasy basketball playoffs are coming up very soon. Been a little bit switched off, but obviously just going to be getting right back into it now, having not being able to move at all recently. I'm able to do a bit more research and stuff, which is great.
Well, prayers to a fast recovery out there, man. And look, that's another way to look at it. That's definitely a good way to stay busy out here when you're
robot hips.
Stick to a bed.
Robot hips, Jack.
Exactly.
But guys, let's get right to it. We got a couple of topics we want to discuss here today with a quick game to finish up after the break. Let's start it off right now, guys. We already know Simmons and Harden traded a while ago, but I want to have a discussion. Who's going to have the biggest impact for their teams, and why do you guys think? Carlos, I'm going to go to you first.
So I wish I could do a deep dive analytically in terms of why one player over another, but I'm not going to project. I'm literally going to take the low-hanging fruit, and I'm going to say James Harden's going to have the bigger impact with the Philadelphia 76ers over Ben Simmons of the Brooklyn Nets, because Simmons is not playing. He's not playing right now. There's really no firm timetable of when he's going to come back. Harden didn't have an impressive debut his first game simply because he didn't take that many shots, but there's no way he's not going to take more shots as he gets more comfortable in the offense. I just hope that it doesn't completely disrupt the Doc Rivers' offense where it becomes iso ball all over again, because that's how Harden likes to play. He has to understand that this is Joel Embiid's team. Harden needs to, make his style work with Embiid as opposed to the other way around. I think for the first time in a long time, Harden is going to have to be not necessarily the supporting role, but be the Robin to the Batman. That is Embiid. So right now, just easily, I'm just going to say Simmons is not going to be as big of a factor, because although I do like his skill set with KD and Kyrie, assuming Kyrie plays home games, I actually would like the Nets a lot in the playoffs. I'm taking a wait and see on approach on that end and see what's going to happen if and when Simmons comes back to actually play for the Nets.
Jack, Gil wants to step in next. Go on right ahead.
I'm gonna let you go first.
So I'm gonna when I think about this, I think purely about who is going to be have a bigger impact. That's the question you asked, and that's the question. I think that's, if we're answering that question, I think it's going to be James Harden. The reason I think that is because I think that with KD and Kyrie on that Nets team, and with the vaccine mandate probably being lifted, if Simmons does come back, you know, KD and Kyrie are still gonna eat. KD's back tonight. We're recording on Thursday, March 3rd, so that's worth noting. He's gonna be back. If Kyrie can play home games, that's gonna be huge for the team. Um, I'm gonna do what I always do and run off some stats, but like Simmons versus Harden, when you look at it like from a stats perspective, Harden, this season in his 44 games, I'm comparing it to Simmons' last season with 58 games. Harden's averaging 8 more points a game. He's averaging more rebounds, more assists, almost as many steals, which was a little bit of a surprise to me because I think a lot of people see Simmons as a better defender. But I just think that Harden going on to that Philly team, like they need a scorer. And he's going to play. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's just been banned for a couple of games, right? Um, is that right, or was that a fake report?
That he got.
Who got banned?
Did Harden not get like suspended for 10 games?
Oh no, that was a fake report. I saw that meme too.
Yeah.
That page, what is it? Ballsack Sports. They have been getting a lot of people. They've gotten some media people live too. I think Boomer got caught a couple weeks ago reporting on something, or Gio, one of them. No, it was actually. I'm sorry. It was Boomer and Gio's show, but I believe it was Jerry Recco. He got caught reading one of these fake reports. It looks legit until you see who puts it out there. So looks like we finally got snagged too.
Yeah, always check. I guess like
not we. I mean Jack.
There was not more information out there, so I guess I probably should have checked it previous. But I think like Harden is just going to have a bigger impact because I think that the Sixers were crying out to have someone like Harden. They've been without Simmons all season. And even if Simmons comes back into that Nets team, the Nets are falling. They're in the 8th spot right now, and like they need Simmons to play for them. And I personally think he will be back before the end of the season. It's just a matter of time. But I do think Harden is going to have the bigger impact long term.
Well, going based on just the Nets' record right now, that's also the fact that KD's been out, Harden got traded, and Kyrie just not playing home games. So when the big three's gone and you really don't have those key star players in this NBA league where every super team is out there trying to fight for a playoff spot, it's tough for the Brooklyn Nets right now. But Gil, go on ahead. What do you got for us?
Well, the casual take would be agree with Jack and Carlos here, but what kind of show would it be if we all just unanimously said the right thing?
A great show.
Yep.
It'll be pretty boring.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go on the other side and say I think Ben Simmons is gonna be a bigger impact because let's look at it this way. I see what you're saying. There's gonna be a lot of cohesion between Harden and Embiid. Obviously, we've seen the last 3 games against the Timberwolves and the Knicks twice that they've actually had a lot of good chemistry. That's just from the jump. But I think it's a one-sided deal because you add Ben Simmons, who was the runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year last season, on a really stout defensive team in last year's Sixers squad. You add him to a team that is sorely lacking in that area, specifically in defending guards. And it's a guard-heavy conference. They're going to run into a Fred VanVleet. Kyrie isn't the best defender, on top of the fact that he's also not going to be available for you half the time. So you have a guy like Ben Simmons, because when he is available, which we all know we'll probably have him ready for the playoffs, you're going to need him defending those guards in Toronto, those guards in Milwaukee, Drew Holiday, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, so on and so forth, Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero. You're going to need somebody that defensively gets it done against top-tier talent at the guard and the wing spot. I don't think James Harden can do that. Granted, Simmons got exposed in the playoffs. But to be at the forefront of a stout guard's defensive spot in the backcourt, I think that's more influential to what the Nets need because they traded away an all-time talent in James Harden to acquire Ben Simmons. Like I said before, he was the runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year. He was leading the league in steals and in just all these intangibles on that side of the floor. I think that's more important to what Brooklyn needs. You look at Philadelphia, it'll work out, but I think it's more towards what the Nets are trying to get.
Well, Gil, I'm right there with you. Before I continue further, let me just crack a cold one with the boys. Hold on. There we go.
You
So,
did what now?
What is the occasion?
I love how you could hear the little cap at the just in the distance be falling to the ground, letting you know that it's
Falling
open.
on his table.
but as we continue, I agree with you, Gil. You know, Ben Simmons, I think exactly what Kyrie and KD needed on that team. Obviously we haven't seen it yet, but my prediction is Ben Simmons is gonna, like he did in the playoffs last year, pass up the opportunity for the shot because KD and Kyrie are some of the most clutch guys when it comes to making that final shot. And I think they're going to do it. Ben Simmons, great passing the ball. Like Gil was saying, great defender. And I was even watching the Knick game last night with the Sixers. Sorry, Gil. But it's just when I see Joel Embiid, I feel like he's more of the impact on the Sixers team than Harden is. Because once Joel Embiid's off the court, I feel like Philadelphia doesn't know what's going on. Joel Embiid is the focal point of that whole team. And if Joel Embiid were to go, James Harden would just be there by himself. I know Tobias Harris is there and you got some other guys there, but it's like,
Yeah, but they
For
want to
me-
get rid of Bias.
yeah. It's
They're
it's
paying
just
him
the
a
point.
lot.
Yeah.
I think they
It
need
all
more
depends,
players
yeah.
to step up in order for that Harden and Embiid trick to work out. Say
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey and so on and so forth.
Oh, did
Yeah.
you see Tyrese Maxey step back? Sorry.
Oh,
We-
Tyrese
Maxey
Maxey
went
is
nuts.
dirty. I think he's
He
a
went
great player.
nuts. It was great,
I know, but
dude.
that is just so James Harden-esque, like what he did.
Yeah.
It was literally like
Did you
he's just
see-
been like watching Harden do that in practice every day.
Did you see like one or two games straight out of Harden getting traded to Philadelphia? Like he was on the bench, and I think Embiid tried some like step back hoo-ha kind of move and got called for a travel. I think I saw
Oh,
the
I
most
didn't see
faint
that.
look on Doc Rivers' face. I think they were getting blown out by the Celtics, but like he tried to do the same thing, but they called him on a travel. It was so funny.
Oh man. But yeah, no, definitely a good opinions from you guys. Good takes. Let's switch it up here. I want to talk about who else but the Lakers right now. You know, Lakers are struggling to say the least. Yeah, you know it's scary out
Doesn't
here
even
right now in
require
LA.
that, I don't think.
It's scary for them right now. Guys, will the Lakers make the playoffs? And if so, where do you see them going?
Well,
Can
yeah, no, go ahead, Jack.
I kind of want to like say my piece here because like I've been pretty locked onto this recently because of the Pelicans. So I think so the Pelicans played the Lakers
Homer.
a couple of games ago.
Homer.
Seriously.
No, I think it helps bring in a bit of perspective because I've been paying a lot more attention to how the Lakers are doing because the Pelicans played them the other day. They're only one win behind them. The Lakers are in the 9 spot, 27 and 34, and the Pelicans are one win behind, 26 and 36. And the Pelicans really dominated them the other night. Brandon Ingram looks really good. CJ McCollum has been like an
Looks
absolute
great.
revelation. Like he just looks I mean, we all knew he's good, but like him being the focal point guard, it's opened up so much for BI. Jonas Valanciunas looks great. I think Willie Green's finally got like a lineup that works, and I think the Pelicans are going to finish with a better record than the Lakers. Then you look at the team slightly above them. The Clippers are tanking right now. They're 33 and 31. They're 6 wins ahead of the Lakers. They're on a 4-win streak. So I mean, I say they're tanking, but they're without Paul George, they're without Kawhi Leonard. I think that the only reason I'm going to say yes that I think that they make the play-in tournament for the Lakers is that when you look at the teams below them, the Trailblazers, the Spurs, the Kings, the Thunder, and the Rockets. Like I just think that there is like a line after the 10 spot that is just like I cannot see the Trailblazers being a team that overtakes them. Like Lillard's not going to come back this season realistically. Nurkic is now out for a while, who was their next focal point, and CJ McCollum's gone. So they're relying on Anthony Simons, who's doing well, and
Who's been balling recently,
yeah,
but now
Drew,
it's like
I don't know, Drew Eubanks. Like it's like I think that it's just I don't like where the Lakers are at. I think they're going to finish in the 10 spot. I think the Pelicans will leapfrog them because the Pelicans are playing really well, and also Zion got some really good news the other day. His foot's healing. I mean, I don't know whether we'll see him this season with only about 20 games left, but I just think that the Lakers, if they do fall out of those 10 spots, something has to have gone horribly wrong, basically.
yeah. Oh, I agree with you. I I don't see them really going too far once they do make the playoffs, because they will. It's just with their star power with Anthony Davis, Westbrook, LeBron. It's just you got Malik Monk. You got guys that are like stepping up where they're trying to find their spot, and I think they're gonna get to it late in the season. And they're gonna make a push. It's just right now it's a mess because they still don't know after the whole season. They still don't know how to work together. But Carlos, what do you got?
So I'm going to put on my best Lieutenant Data impression over here. I looked at the schedule, I looked at the stats, and see where we are at the Lakers, because my expert analysis as a sports media professional will tell you that the Lakers suck. I think the Lakers are garbage. They can't play together.
Hey, let's not sugarcoat it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold back. The Lakers are trash. Westbrook can't shoot anymore. He just I'm close to saying I just don't think he can ball in this league anymore. But let's look at the team overall. I don't want to just harp on one dude, because it is really the construction of the roster with the GM LeBron James. Rob Pelinka, and the way that they put that team together. But in the season overall, they're 9th in winning percentage with a 443 clip. All right, they are 8th in points, which is basically what you expect for a team that's struggling to get in. They're 6th in field goal percentage, so not terrible. They are 9th in three-point percentage in a league that consistently relies on sharpshooters. That's the area for the Lakers that I really see a problem for, even though they're better than half their conference. They're obviously not better than the Clippers, the Warriors, and the Jazz and the Suns, which I think are far and away the best 4 teams in the conference. Rebounds, they're 8th. And their defensive rating, because I didn't want to just look at offense, they're 9th in their overall total defensive rating, the Lakers are. So they are exactly who we think they are in terms of a middling team. All those stats would tell you that if this was a traditional playoff format where 8 teams on each side of the conferences are getting in, the Lakers are just on the outside. They're not going to make it. But because of the play-in tournament, which is the 7th through 10th spots in each conferences, the Lakers will get into the play-in game. Now, if you look at the schedule and you see right now the Timberwolves are at 7, the Pelicans are at 10. Let's say they flip-flop, because I agree with Jack. I think the Pelicans are playing better, and I think they will overtake the Lakers as the season winds down. Let's say the Timberwolves hold serve. If the Lakers play the Timberwolves, I think the Timberwolves, for whatever reason, they just never go far in the playoffs. Karl Anthony Towns hasn't been able to really carry the team far into the postseason. I could see the Lakers winning that series.
But you have Ant-Man now. You got Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, okay.
You got the leader on that squad.
Yeah, right.
You don't know.
Yeah, right.
I'll delve into that once Carlos is done.
But listen, the Timberwolves, I think, are the only team that the Lakers can beat, because they're not going to play the Pelicans if they're in the unless the Pelicans and the Lakers both win their first series, and I don't think both teams will win their first series. Mm-hmm. And then you have the Clippers to deal with. Let's say the Lakers do get past the Timberwolves, which I think is entirely possible. They're not going to get past the Clippers. So the play-in is certainly within possibility, because the other teams behind them are just still terrible with the Blazers, the Spurs, and the Kings, the Rockets, and the Thunder. But the actual playoffs, 8 teams, no, there's no shot that the Lakers are going to make it that far.
Wow, I'm still mesmerized by Carlos having more stats than Jack on this podcast.
I've got loads here, okay? I stopped spouting them because I get so much crap for it.
All right, Gil, let's hit it. Finish this up here before we go to break. What's your take?
The Lakers are garbage.
There we go.
That's that expert analysis everybody comes for.
It's all around the table.
It's the round table here. The Lakers look absolutely abysmal this year. Their month of February alone was absolutely disgusting. They've only won 3 of those games. You know which games they beat? It was a tough win against Utah. I'll give them that. But it was against my Knicks and the Portland Trailblazers.
Bums.
Every other team they've gotten absolutely demolished by when it comes to Milwaukee. They actually lost to the Blazers again. They lost to the Warriors in a close one. Lost to the Clippers twice. Those Pelicans, like Jack mentioned before. and they got blown out by the Pelicans.
Yeah.
And then not to mention, also got to mention that boy Luka, absolutely grilling them
Jeff
last week. That
Chef
boy
them up,
Luka.
He crossed
Oh
one
my
up.
God. On top of this, so let's say that they finished ninth. How the play-in tournament is, the ninth seed will play the 10th seed, and the 7th will play the 8th. And then the ninth would go on to play, I think, for the tops. They play for the top seed. I don't know how. I don't remember how it goes on from that point on.
9 and 10
the
will
la-
play the 1.
Right. And then 7 and 8 would play the 2.
Yes. Exactly.
So, the Lakers would be playing the Pelicans, if it stands right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think they beat the Pelicans in a play-in game, just given the fact that it's a young team. I don't know necessarily how well that team outside the star power that it has will kind of go the distance. But here's the biggest... Let's not also forget this one thing. And I think this is what's really been the biggest struggle for the Lakers between January and February, because they had a pretty decent January before that absolutely dismal month that they've had previously. Anthony Day-to-Day Davis.
Yep.
Anthony Street Clothes Davis.
It's
Anthony
so sad.
Body Made of Glass Davis.
Mr. Glass.
Mr. Glass.
My personal favorite is Day-to-Day Davis.
That one's good.
Davis. Yep.
They don't win. I think Charles Barkley said it best. They don't win games unless Anthony Davis plays like a top 5 player in basketball. And he hasn't, because he can't stay on the floor. And on top of that, he can't produce either. It's like his shooting touch is gone as well. You know what I mean? It's not even necessarily just the 3-point shooting. His mid-range is gone too. And if for you guys that remember that Lakers championship run a couple of seasons ago, that was on automatic.
If you can count that as the championship, but we continue. If you count the
I
bubble as the
digress.
championship one, yeah. But let's keep
If you
going.
look between those 4 play-in teams, the best looking lineup is Minnesota's. Because, again, the Clippers, this is kind of a lost clause for the Clippers because they don't have Kawhi Leonard. Who knows what he's going to do moving forward. Paul George is probably out for the rest of the year as well. The Pelicans, I feel like they don't have much to play for outside of trying to just get this home team kind of going together with Valanciunas, Brandon Ingram, and CJ McCollum. And then there's the Lakers, who should be among the top 6 teams in the West, but they're not. And it's, and that's because there's also a bunch of overachievers in that conference. I just think they stay where they are, but there's like an immediate level for concern because not only is this one of the worst constructed rosters in the sport, this is honestly a complete wreckage from top to bottom. Let's exclude LeBron James alone because he's been LeBron James, for all intents and purposes, has been the only good player for that team. The role players can't shoot. Westbrook is a turnover machine. Let's not even get into his shooting ability. He's a turnover machine. And I love Westbrook. On top of that, they have no depth in the center presenter. Well, first off, his MVP run was like enough for me to love the kind of player he was. They have no depth in the center position. Outside of Anthony Davis, they got nothing. And Anthony Davis, once they realized he had to put on muscle to play at the 5, they couldn't do anything because then he kept getting hurt. Were they going to rely on Dwight Howard? A shell of Dwight Howard? I just hate how this roster is constructed. And I can't really say exactly what is the sole reasoning other than the fact that from top to bottom, this is a terribly constructed team.
Let me tell you right now, because we were talking about the Timberwolves recently. I see them being like the Atlanta Hawks last year, being one of those dark horse teams to make it far into the playoffs this year. That's my take on it. You got guys like Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley, Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell. You got guys on there that could really shake things up coming up in the playoffs.
They're a couple games behind Denver for that last spot before the play-in. If they could sneak in there, I think they could make some noise.
I think they could really do something. But you know what? That's a discussion for another time. We're gonna take a quick break. Let's see.
I mean, I would hope so because you said we're going to take a quick break.
All right, let's see.
The most obvious cue on the planet.
We are going to take a quick break. Let me
do
be
this
right
one.
back. And stay with us, guys. It's gonna be a fun one. up, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back. Let's do it! Alright, game time. Let's go! It's time. Guys, we always play in our games where it's like, it's Fantasy Feud, it's which guy's the highest one. This is a different game. This is a new, fun, creative game I just came up with. And there's 2 sections to it. But I want to see which one you guys would rather play. Would you rather play with guys?
Pause.
Hold on. Pause. Pause.
That's gonna be a drop.
Would you guys rather play with players that are on the IR, supposed to come back before the playoffs, or would you guys rather play with guys that are like borderline waiver wire pickups?
What though?
Wait, are we choosing our own game, or is this a part of the game?
You're choosing your category, but this is the 2 categories. It's guys on the IR, or it's guys that are borderline waiver wire pickup spots.
I'm gonna go with the injury IR spots.
Okay.
I'm gonna agree with Carlos.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, sounds good.
Let's do it.
I'm happy for whatever. That wasn't a whatever in terms of like I don't care. It was like just get me in the game.
All right, you guys are ready for the game? Here it is. All right. So now, I want you guys to tell. I'm gonna give you guys one specific player, and I want you guys to tell me if you guys are passing or smashing on this player. Coming.
Hey yo!
Yo, eating a glizzy with no beverage, that's a violation.
That's a violation.
I gotta know if you are riding or die with this guy. I gotta know. And we're gonna start off with my man, Kristaps Porzingis, because he's hurt right now, and we don't know.
Oh, you don't say.
Back, but for the fantasy playoffs implications, I want to hear it from you guys. Are you guys gonna ride with him, or get rid of him for a bench spot?
Wait, so do we have our IR spots?
Let's say, for argument's sake, no, you don't.
Ooh.
So you're saying like we have to drop him?
So it's a stash or drop.
He's going to play. It's just the theme of these players are currently injured, but in time for fantasy playoffs, I feel.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna play him. No Bradley Beal in Washington. There's not really a lot of anything else, to be honest, on that Wizards squad. I don't see why he doesn't get the kind of usage he would get, say, if he was the main guy.
Yeah, I mean, so the report that came out today was that he went through 5-on-5 work. So he's close to being back. So I think depending on when your playoffs start, like for me, in one of my leagues, it's eight guys make the playoffs. So we start next week. But if a week where only a league where only 6 guys make the playoffs, and next week is also a regular season week, I would definitely hang on to him because you're not going to find someone on the waiver wire that's going to average you around 35 fantasy points, and he's good in category leagues as well. So yeah, I'm hanging on to him.
Yeah, give it a clean sweep across the board. I'll hold on to KP as well because really just big men overall. Yeah, you're not going to find quality big men that are going to really supplement what your team's going to need in terms of category leagues and just overall talent for KP. When he's healthy, he can still play. Is he what he was when he first burst onto the scene, as a phenom with the Knicks? No. But you don't need him to be. You just need him to be a solid guy to get you, consistent double-doubles and stay on the field. So I don't know if you can find that on the waiver wire right now, so I'll hold on to KP.
I feel like he's the next day-to-day, just like Davis right now with the way he is with injuries, man. He's right there next to Davis.
I think in 5 years he's out the league.
He's been there.
Yeah, honestly. Next up, we got Michael Porter Jr. Pass or smash, boys.
Stop that. You gotta stop. That's a tough one, though. Especially if Jamal Murray actually does make a quick return. I don't think he does. If Michael Porter Jr. were to come back, would I take him? I'm gonna go no.
Yeah. I'm gonna
go no.
Weirdly in agreement with Gil. I think that the main reason is that he was not playing well. I don't know if you remember, but like he was playing really badly like coming into the season. And yeah, okay, like maybe this back injury was something that was bothering more than we realized. But I know he's joining up with the G League team or whatever now. But I just think that he is a pass for me. If I don't have an IR spot, I can't stash him because I feel like for the Nuggets, who are a team solidly in the playoffs, there's no point in them bringing him back until maybe the playoffs, where he could really have an impact in a long series. So I'm gonna pass on him. I'm not gonna smash. But, yeah, I'm gonna pass.
I can't really follow that.
I'm not gonna smash.
So
Let's expand on that.
So in real life, obviously he's a really talented player. His back issues is the reason why he fell to number 15 in the draft overall, and the Nuggets, took a risk on him. It's a high risk, high reward pick for the Nuggets in real life because he's a top 10 talent. He's a top 5 talent if he's healthy, but he's had back problems coming out of college. So because of his injury problems and the fact that he hasn't played well, I just think this is going to wind up being a lost season for him. Murray comes back, instantly makes the Nuggets better. I don't know how Porter Jr. comes back the way that he was playing, and the fact that he can never stay on the field in any season that he's been on. I can't see how the Nuggets would want to rush him back or even bring him back at a slower pace. I think they might just toss this year out and be like, hey, listen, don't take any contact. Just get healthy, and we'll see you next year. So for that, I'm going to pass on Michael Porter Jr. as well.
Especially when you have Jokic to help out with all that lost cause over there, out in Denver. He can really pick it up.
Did you see the Thunder beating the Nuggets last night?
That was incredible. I kind of wish I bet on that.
That's nuts.
Isaiah Roby had himself a game. Like he's like on all streaming radars now. But against Jokic, he had 26 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks.
Next guy's up. We got CP3. Smash or pass?
Smash.
Even with
Chris freaking Paul.
No, but I'm saying this because he's only, if anything, who knows if he's gonna even make it back before the end of the fantasy playoffs.
It depends where the Suns are positioned. If they want to play for the home court advantage, they're gonna probably want to bring Chris Paul back. I know Devin Booker is gonna be pretty much on the verge of returning immediately after already being ruled out for at least yesterday's game, given the severity or lack thereof for his COVID exam. Who knows? It's at this point, it's possibly a false positive. We don't know. He'll be at least out for a few days. But the thing with Chris Paul is if you bring him back before the playoffs, you warm him up before the actual NBA playoffs, you're gonna want to have him rostered because let's be serious, he's only going up in age. You can't really just bring somebody back into the swing of things when it really matters. Chris Paul is gonna need the tune-up. At the very least, he'll probably have him out there for the last week. Say you make the finals and you have Chris Paul returning, I think that's equally as important as just having him at all. That's an X factor. That's a league-winning move right there. If he comes back from injury and you're playing for a championship, that's exactly what kind of a player you want.
Yeah, you have him for the last week, but you also have to think you're not going to have him on your roster with a big fat 0 for 6 to 7 weeks before that.
I think it's worth the risk, especially if you make it that far. If you have a decently constructed team and you make it to the finals, I think that's worth it. I think it's absolutely worth it. You hold on to a player who, under most circumstances, was lighting up the boards. He was leading.
No, he was.
Assists.
I had him on my team too. He's
a guaranteed
one of the best point guards out there.
Game.
Yeah.
So I think he's worth the keep.
So this is, I always harp on about this, but this is where league format really comes into play, and you need to know your league, because if you're a 1 or 2 seed and you have the first round bye, and you're not gonna have to play in that first week of the playoffs and stuff, I think he's worth a hold. But at the end of the day, you can't have someone on your team that's not playing in the playoffs, because you may as well drop them, because it's like if you lose that week, you're out. So
you're done. Yeah.
So you have to do everything in your power. Yeah, okay. That might mean that then the next week someone else grabs him and they make it through and they're able to do it without him. Great, like good on you. But it's kind of like you pick your poison. I think that I would stash him for now. I I'm a 1 seed in one of my leagues. I think actually I had a tight game with Gil last week. I think I finished 6-5 in category leagues.
That was tight
very
on
close.
only free throw percentage. Everything else
Yeah.
was just tied.
Yeah, we like blew each other out in the other categories, but it was just like, yeah. But I just think it just does depend on the league. But for now, I think Chris Paul is having arguably one of the best years of his career, and he's like into his 30s. It's incredible what he's doing for the Suns. And Cameron Payne looked good last night. He had played his first game back. He didn't shoot the ball well, but he picked up steals. He had 8 assists. It's like. So I don't
only
think
20 minutes on the court too, limited.
Yeah,
he looked
exactly.
good when he's out there. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why I'm like, I think the Suns are just going to be hesitant. Like, and also the Pels picked up a lovely win against the Suns the other night as well. So
Always got to throw in the Pels. Fellas, what you got, man?
So no suspense. I'm gonna disagree with both of these guys. I already dropped them. The second that Chris Paul went, the second that Chris Paul got hurt, and the timetable was 6 to 8 weeks, I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm gonna take an L for 2 months. Not because here's the thing, Chris Paul. It seems like habitually he gets hurt in the playoffs. He got hurt last year. He got hurt with the Rockets. He's gonna get hurt again. It just seems to be the pattern, and I feel bad because he's a tremendous player. He's had a Hall of Fame career. I think he's one of the best point guards I've ever seen, point blank. And I don't think he's ever gonna get a ring. I don't think he'll ever be in position to get a ring. And I thought this was the year to do it. But once that injury came down, fantasy purposes, I was not going to hold on to him. So I cut bait already. So to answer your question, if he's still on my roster, if I'm a middling team, if I'm not getting a first round bye, like that's not secured, I'm dropping Chris Paul. If you already haven't dropped him. If you're in good position in your league and making the playoffs is going to be a foregone conclusion, and you don't have IRR spots, fine. Then there's maybe you can do a better option than picking somebody up on the waiver wire. Maybe you can't, but if you can afford to kind of not play it, be down a player, then that would be the only mulligan I can give. But I think for most people, for most leagues, I'm not stashing them if I don't have an IR spot. I dumped them already.
Before Nick continues, I want to say one thing that just broke, news that just broke. Nets just announced. Nets just announced Joe Harris will undergo season-ending ankle surgery. Massive blow for the Nets, who we're already missing him for quite some time. But Joe Harris is done. Joe Harris is done for the season.
Well,
I didn't realize that he had a timetable and was meant to come back. So
he didn't really. They said he was close 1 month, and then he got like some reevaluation, and it was.
Let me cross him out of my list over here, then, guys. All right. Let's see. We got one more guy here now. No, I'm kidding.
let's go.
But let's go into one last guy. This one's a tricky one here, guys. I got over here Kyrie Irving.
Ooh.
Smash or pass? Smash or pass right now?
You have to smash him. What?
That's a drop. That's a drop. I need that.
You guys give your topics, and I'll tell you why. I would pass up on this smash. Big time.
Really?
I might have to agree with you, Nick.
Oh man, I agree with Jack. I mean, I just wouldn't say it as enthusiastic as he did, but I would certainly snag Kyrie for the playoffs.
The vax mandate might end on March 7th, and you guys are dropping him?
Yeah, there's no shot. I think this is the time that this is the time where stashing him pays off. If he's available in your league, you got to run and get him.
I did forget about the
they have a home game tonight, which he's not playing in. Then they're away at Boston, away at Charlotte, away at Philly. It's like, no, like you can't like. Please,
but is it for certain that this mandate's gonna end? Is it for certain?
They're letting it fade out, which means it'll give room for Kyrie to play games. So I will actually have to. I would stash Irving.
Yeah, like I mean, it's like when he plays, he's like a Chris Paul light. Like it's like when he plays is outstanding. Absolutely not. Do not drop Kyrie Irving, whatever you do. I think you got to keep. If you want to join my league, please, and drop him.
So. This is before the mandate news came out, but my understanding was that this man was only going to play 6 games out of the next 20 games. Because and that's the reason why that I traded him before the trade deadline. I'm gonna be honest. I got rid of him. I traded away Kyrie Irving, Valanciunas, and Malik Bridges for Luka Doncic and Brandon Ingram.
Who's Malik Bridges?
Oh, McCall Bridges.
Okay.
I was close. Switch up the
He did
letters.
just flip the letters, so you know
I
it's
just
not the
flipped
worst.
letters. Yeah, I was close. But
Maybe
like,
Miles Bridges?
yeah, Miles Bridges, yeah. But at that point, you know, I was thinking to myself, I gotta get rid of this guy. Because there's no way I'm going to just put him in and out of my IR spot as the playoffs were going to go on. I noticed, like, he was only going to play 8 out of the 24 last regular season games. What good is he on my bench with a 0 that he can't play at the home court? You know what I mean? And now with the mandate changing it up, I mean, look, I still got Luka Doncic in the deal with Brandon Ingram as a nice little side piece. So it's like, I would smash both those guys anytime. But, like, that's just me.
Good Lord, we gotta do something with the name of this segment.
We
Tell me how you
really
feel,
do, Carlos. We really do. You got to take Irving. This is
I just
when
think-
he's
I
on
just
the
think-
floor. He's
But yeah, when he's on the floor, he's explosive, and he's now, especially now, he's one of the only guys with KD now that's gonna make plays for you. So yes, now with this new change up, I agree. I think I would smash Kyrie.
Oh my good God.
All right, I'm done with this. I'm cutting the music. Like,
Carlos, the music, please, please.
Oh man. And on that note, guys.
oh
On
Lord.
that note, guys, I appreciate the great insight. You guys have been great. Listen up next week when we come back for a whole new show. Hopefully with a nice special guest to help us out. Guys, from the whole Four Horsemen podcast, I'm Nick, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks a lot.